Yeah, so we're talking about that tab, right? We're talking about a word that's used commonly, right? When it comes to debt. We're talking about a word that's used commonly when we're talking about searching something in the computer. We open up a tab, right? And you have the ability to open up another tab, right? But if you open up too many tabs, right? Too many debts, right? Too many debts, right? Are in your name, right? We have the word here, birth, right? And at your birth, again, for those first 7 years, right? Your mother, within those first 7 years, was required to attach you to a tab, a debt, a national debt that's associated to your birth certificate. The word birth has dual meanings, right? When one is born, one is birthed, right? But when we talk about a vessel, remember, we're talking about who's driving your thoughts. We're talking about a vessel, a vehicle, a program, a filter, right? So the United States corporation, right, at your birth attached you to a tab, to a certificate, right? At your birth, a ship, birth, ships, water is money. Your debt is attached to you via the tab, the money, right? Money is like water. As soon as you pour it in your hand, it spills straight out, right? So we're talking about a tab, and we're talking about ways to get back to the blueprint so we can become the driver. So you're going to have to close the tab. If your computer has too many tabs open, it will cause it to run slow. It will cause it to go back down there, right? Running slow, looping, right? So for the first 7 years of your life, you were ritualistically looped in an open tab, right? Of a program, a filter, right? So let's begin to close the tabs, right? So we can get back to a clean slate. Okay, John Doe? Okay, Jane Doe? Who are you? Where you going? Who's driving your thoughts? Who's driving your body, right? So we talked about the word spells. We talked about the word rituals. We talked about the word grammar, right? We talked about reversing the word live. We talked about reversing the word God, right? We talked about the word nice that negates intelligence. So when you can connect the dots, that negated intelligence is now terminated, right? Because you closed the tab. You're no longer running at a low frequency in that recording state, right? Because that acculturation that you got for the first 7 years from your environment, right? You were programmed, right, to believe that you were supposed to be in debt, that you were supposed to be under oppression. Under the 66 programs, you hear it. The Hebrew Israelites tell you that God wanted you to be in slavery. This is the program that we got to break. And you got to remember to close the tab. You got to close the debt that's associated to your birth certificate, right? These words, these spells, these book of spells, these books of spells, right? 666 got more tricks that you could ever imagine, right? So you got to go back and close the tabs. You got to go back and stop looping, right, ritualistic in the program that you have open, right? It's a lock. It's a key. You can do it on cue. Remember the times that I told you to cue in, right, on your programming yourself and deleting, right, the old program, right? Remember 88. We're talking about that number 88. We're talking about, right, those 4 hertz to delta, right? Those 4 to 8 hertz to theta, those 8 to 12 hertz to alpha, and those 12 to 40 hertz to beta. We haven't even got to the gammas, right? We're talking about brain waves. We're talking about frequencies, right? We're talking about the modulations of thoughts, right? We're talking about reclaiming your own. We're talking about accepting your own, right? And being yourself rather than being other than yourself as told under these programs. 666. This is another New Black World Order TV Productions. Chopper. So go back and listen from part 1 all the way up to now and go through the definition of those words. Spells, ritual, right? Remote control, right? Grandma, right? Look up the word tab, right? Whenever you try to get credit, they're putting you on a tab. That's debt. Debt is a weapon, right? So you got to close those open tabs, right? You got to close the open tabs that link you back to the old programs that keep looping over and over in your program and slowing down, right, your brain waves. We're talking about those delta waves, those theta waves, those alpha waves, and those beta waves. We're talking about getting back in control of your thoughts and where your body is going, your program. So yes, you can program yourself. You can reset. You can delete. You can clear out. You can build a self-owned best interest program tailored fit for you, just like your mother's breast milk. It was a formula for you. But they came in with an artificial filter with that. Cow's milk. Or rather, a formula created in a laboratory, rather than the natural birthing process. But they told you that you were a human, but in fact, you were a vessel that they were driving you as if you were a battery, right? Remember, when they arrest you in court, they give you a charge. The police give you a charge. Then they place you in a cell, right? What's a charge inside of a cell? It's a battery, right? Under their program, they have an engine, a operandi of an open tab, an open program to program you from birth to be nothing more than a slave of mental death and power. This is another New Black World Order TV Productions. Chopper.